thought what I could do, I forget what view I'm sharing here, but let me go to another article that I thought might be worth arguing about.
Let me add though, with the
Go
party
ahead,
system
go ahead,
in this
please.
country, I'm gonna arrogantly quote my own relative. This is from Richard William Henry Lee. Two of my relatives are signers on the Constitution. But this is one of the things he said when we were developing our nation. And I see the danger in either case will arise principally from the conduct and views of two unprincipled parties in the United States, two fires between which the honest and substantial people have long found themselves situated. This is an argument that has been had long before we established the nation, that there shouldn't be a party system because of that pendulum effect.
Well, the counter argument, it might be too small for folks, and it's not, because it's, I can't just raise the font here, although, wait a minute, what do I got here?
That's the other fun thing about parties that people I don't think realize. They're not part of the government, they're special interest groups.
All right, so here's an article that, if you could see, was from yesterday, December 4th. And this is titled, this was in the New York Times. So what I did was I copied it into Word and posted it on our course content so I could pull it up today, because probably I wouldn't be able to use the New York Times without registering somehow. However, I mean, I subscribe, although I'm pissed off at them because I subscribed with a really cheap, trial period, and then when it was over, they automatically started charging me $45 a month, I believe.
did the same thing. I was so mad I canceled it.
Well, the trouble is I'm quite frankly dependent on it as like the main source of
your news.
Yeah, I do get the paper copy of the Anchorage Daily News, and as a subscriber, I have an account that I can go to and look at. But it's such a pain in the butt that I don't do it very often. Except that's where I get my local stuff, like the five guys that got drowned on
I haven't read that one.
out of Huna just the other day. They went out in a 39-footer, no, a 50-some footer in 7 to 8 foot waves.
Yeah, this time of year, not the brightest freaking move, but
They're the fishermen. I'm not going to be
Yeah.
critical of them, but
I've been there, done that on 50-footers, small little boats. They don't do well out there.
I would not do it. Okay, well, let me get to work here, because I'm hoping you guys can actually see this. Do you guys see Mr. Edsall's column on YouTube, on Zoom? Anyone?
Crickets.
No, it looks like we're still looking at the notes page on Blackboard.
Okay, let me try changing that here. Oh, you know what? It might. Let me try sharing again to see if I could share the specific content. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Oh. All right, it looks like I can't do it for some reason. Well, I'll go to this, but I'm thinking it's not going to let me share that. You didn't see that change, did you, to Mr. Edsel's column?
Yeah, it changed to the
Oh.
PDF.
Oh, good. Yay, team. Thank you.
Things are working.
How about that? That's
Victory.
Okay, so this is another example of a little bit longer actually, essay on the same topic. Or different aspects of it, but nonetheless,
counter-argument?
this is. I think so. I think it's basically a critique of the idea that the teleology of our country is towards justice. Instead, I think the pendulum swing that this describes can be maybe the concept of justice that people are presuming
Mhm.
is the direction the country's going. Disagree.
I disagree too.
Okay, yeah, I mean, so you know,
Justice, I mean, this is philosophy.
yeah,
Justice is not that easily.
which justice is the one that's the direction we're moving in, and so this one, Mr. Edsel is going to talk about Project 2025.
Oh, dear.
That's his concern. So Mr. Edsel contributes a weekly column from Washington, D.C. on politics, demographics, and inequality. So, I'm not suggesting that he's
Biased.
pro. He's definitely critical of this project. So on November 19th, 2 weeks after Election Day, Elon Musk demonstrated perhaps the most brutal, if not sadistic, technique for making life in the federal service intolerable. A Wall Street Journal headline from November 22nd captures this situation well. Musk unleashes online army on federal workers. What happened? Musk had reposted a tweet declaring, "I don't think the U.S. taxpayer should pay for the employment of a director of climate diversification at the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation." Musk added a comment echoing the language of the president-elect, "So many fake jobs." Musk's tweet, which was viewed by 33.2 million people, described Ashley Thomas, a 37-year-old who, the Journal reports, holds engineering, business, and water science degrees from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and University of Oxford, and works as the little-known Director of Climate Diversification at the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation, which advises private companies to fund ways to improve living standards in developing countries. A finance corporation official told the Journal that Thomas's work is highly technical and is focused on identifying innovations that serve U.S. strategic interests, including bolstering agriculture and infrastructure against extreme weather events. As evidence mounted that Thomas's job was under threat, she sought to pull herself out of the spotlight, taking down all of her social media accounts. The social media excoriation of public sector employees is just one way that President-elect Donald Trump and his MAGA loyalists are using to destroy what they see as strongholds of the left in government and academia. Despite their owners' protestations to the contrary, the fear of retribution from Trump and his allies appears, at least to me, to have prompted two major newspapers, the Washington Post and the Los Angeles Times, to decline to endorse anyone in the presidential contest. Similarly, corporate America, also seemingly in recognition of Trump's explicit threats to punish adversaries, nearly doubled its support for Trump to $660.5 million in 2024, up from $358.2 million in 2020. Business support for President Biden was $563.3 million in 2020, and it was $450.8 million for Kamala Harris in 2024, according to Open Secrets. These are all links that you get in his article that you can go and visit. In further anticipation of vengeful Trump-led administration, companies are scrubbing left-leaning policies from their websites and scoping out appearances on conservative podcasts, the Journal reported last week. With Trump and his allies on the move, organizations that rose after the 2016 election to fight the Trump administration have largely folded their tents, at least for now. The anti-Trump movement, Politico, reported shortly after November 5th, is in tatters. Now it's scrambling to remain relevant. In fact, preliminary signs, anti-Trump burnout, the resistance says it's exhausted, as my colleagues in the newsroom put it, suggest that the liberal opposition is doing just what Timothy Snyder, a historian at Yale, who has written extensively about Hitler and Stalin, warned against: do not obey in advance. The early coercive pressures applied by Trump loyalists are a taste of what is to come, starting on January 20th, 2025. That's when he's inaugurated. Forces on the right have adopted an extraordinary agenda that, even if it's not a resounding success, is sure to inflict damage on cherished pillars of liberalism and the Democratic Party. Trump, convinced that top government employees in such agencies as the Department of Justice and the CIA are out to get him, is the driving force behind this assault. This time, however, he will have numerous allies in key government positions equally committed to the annihilation of the deep state. Take the federal civil service. We want the bureaucrats to be traumatically affected, Russell Vought, Trump's designated director of the Office of Management and Budget, declared in a speech sponsored by the Center for Renewing America before the election. When they wake up in the morning, we want them to not want to go to work because they are increasingly viewed as the villains. Vought said the Trump administration must wage war against an alliance of the Democratic Party and the American left committed to the destruction of our country. The stark reality. Now, notice the division here, as far as they're concerned, the Democratic Party and that liberal tendency, the teleology that Steve Haycox is talking about is the enemy of our country, because that would result, their success would result in the destruction of our country.
It always does, according to these people.
So the stark reality in America is that we are in the late stages of a complete Marxist takeover of the country, Vought argued, in which our adversaries already hold the weapons of the government apparatus, and they have aimed it at us, and they are going to continue to aim it until they no longer have to win elections. Not to be outdone, Kash Patel, Trump's choice to head the FBI, described his plans to Steve Bannon last year. We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we are going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We are going to come after you, whether it is criminal or civil. We're figuring that out. But yeah, we are putting you on notice. Steve, this is why they hate us. This is why we are tyrannical. This is why we are dictators. In this struggle, who are the targets? The list is long, often focusing on academia. So, of course, my
Your head's on the block.
my idea, my sense of self, is bingo, sorry, especially on elite universities like Harvard. Oh, okay, well then I'm out. Yale and Stanford. In fields such as sociology and psychology, on sanctuary cities, the nonprofit sector, which employs 12.8 million people with an annual payroll of $873.1 billion, on the roughly 11 million unauthorized immigrants, on the three major television networks that are not Fox, the top ranks of the Justice Department, the CIA, and the Armed Forces, on the array of civil rights enforcement departments embedded throughout the public and private sectors, and on the already faltering diversity, equity, and inclusion nests in corporations across America. That's also referred to as DEI lately.